You're watching Rethinking the Mundane with Jo and Lex.
where you get a industrial designer and a creative technologist talking about everyday mundane objects in the world as we rethink, reimagine, and try to repurpose these objects in our everyday lives.
All in 15 minutes. Today we're chatting about
The microwave.
the microwave. Man, the thing about the microwave is that it's one of those objects in your house that you kind of just forget is there.
But it's so important.
Is it? I mean, to some people, I guess it's very important. I have some stats actually about the microwave. So, 90% of American households owned a microwave oven in 1997, which is up from 25% in the late 80s. However, in India, only around 5% of households had a microwave in 2015.
Oh, wow.
So it's something that is very commonplace in the UK and the US, but actually in other parts of the world, not so much.
I guess the microwave, could you argue and say that it's an object that has obviously been put there by its purpose is created because of the emphasis of Western capitalism, would you say? Well, like there's different things, right? There's like that cultural perspective. Because I know that when I go back home to like Nigeria, for example, you're not doing microwaves. You're gonna cook the food. You might cook food outside. You might have more traditional ways of cooking. Get firewood, put it in, put a pot there, and then you might reheat by cooking. And then when you come, to the UK, I guess in my experience, you cook food in big batches. Predominantly, you store it in the freezer, you take it out, and then you microwave the food and you eat it. That's the way how I saw cooking was done. Obviously, that was a combination of different reasons, economical, time, a lot of those factors, which is that may and I guess culturally here where we have such a high paced work environment that the objects we have in our home is obviously to optimize speed and convenience.
The thing about the microwave, I guess, in the sort of 80s and 90s especially, was that it's almost like a symbol of the woman not being in the household. Like in a way, for me, it feels as if if both people in the house are going out to work,
Yeah.
then getting home and the idea of having to then spend time cooking is often like the last thing that people want to do. They just want to be able to whack something in the microwave, something they've cooked before,
Yeah.
or something they bought on the way home, and just have it there ready. I guess it for a lot of people it's not associated with nutrition. It's not associated with like quality food. A lot of people would argue that that's not the case. In fact, apparently some research that I was doing, you can retain more nutrients in things like veg and stuff if you cook it in the microwave than if you boil it in a pan.
Oh wow.
But I think it's a symbol of convenience for definite.
Yeah.
But is it the modern symbol of convenience? I mean, what's convenient food for you?
Oh God, in this era, Deliveroo and them things
Exactly.
are taking my life and my money. And it's an interesting one, right? Because I think there's a key point you just made there, which you said about, I guess it's like, as people who create products and services every day, we're always looking into the world around us and sort of responding to what we see. And like you mentioned, the increase of the microwave, possibly correlates with the increase of women working in the workforce, and somehow through, society and stuff, it's like, okay, there's this microwave and stuff. And that's a very interesting thing about just that cultural perspective and how that shapes dynamics. Because you see it in films sometimes where it's like the man comes home late from work and then their partner or wife or whoever is like gone to bed, and then they got the sign and it's like left meals here, left it in the microwave or something, and that type of stuff and that culture. So it's just a very interesting thing that you mentioned there a lot about just that shift in society. And I don't know, like when you approach thinking about objects and the things you could do, so linking it to the microwave conversation, do you is there like do you spend time trying to observe how our everyday behaviors are, or like the shifts in?
I mean, when it comes to the microwave, we break it down into fundamentally what's it what is it doing? And it's helping to speed up the process of preparing food.
Yeah.
There's plenty of other ways in which we could do that.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's kind of cultural differences depending on the kinds of food you're eating as to whether you can heat them up, heat things up. So you're eating things like pasta or bread or kind of stuff like that, putting it in the microwave is probably a bad idea. Yeah. But if you're reheating a curry or something, then it's fine.
Yeah.
I think also we would look in obviously at the user. I mean, the microwaves are really important in the home, say, of my aunt or my grandmother.
Yeah.
And they might have a meal prepared for them, or they might have something that's left over because there's they're living by themselves.
Yeah.
Being able to heat that up the next day, it saves a huge amount of work that for them when they're in their 90s is a big undertaking.
Yeah.
So, and then you've obviously got people with kids, and so there are certain situations, even if someone has time, that actually having that convenience is still important.
And it's like, because even now when I think about it, as that conversation, I was thinking about microwavable food. Because obviously you create a microwave, and we were talking about, I guess my relationship with microwave is, like I said, food being cooked in batch. Like when I was raised, my grandma would cook food in batches and then would warm it up. And then there's this whole section of like, just put food in the microwave in 3 minutes and and they never taste nice.
It is funny, isn't it? I don't know what it is. I think a huge amount of it is that if you spend time, for me, if I spend time cooking, I feel like it tastes better. Some people, it's not the case. If they spend a long time cooking on it, then all they can think about is that it doesn't perhaps live up to expectations. But you feel like, I don't know, there's a process of like earning that food, of working hard for that food, and then appreciating the kind of effort that's gone into it. Whereas you just whack something in the microwave, sit down, eat it mindlessly, and you're kind of taken away from the experience of that meal.
It's interesting. It's just an interesting one, right? Because if you bring it to now, you've got so much like options. Because I guess now you have stuff like HelloFresh, you have stuff like meal prep companies where they prep the meals for you. You can simply microwave that as well. You now can just go into Deliveroo, Uber Eats, Just Eat, and you can just simply just order food and get food within minutes. And you can still obviously do traditional experience of grocery shopping and cooking. I guess my question to you is, where do you think the microwave, as this mundane object, where do you think it has a place in? Do you think it still has a prominent place in our home, or do you think it should still have a prominent place in our home, or would you think that the product itself will lose its sentimental value over time, if I use that term?
I think you said that your flat came with a microwave like built in.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even choose to get rid of that if you wanted to. So it's definitely at a point where, like a fridge, it's almost than a washing machine. Perhaps it's like built into the structure of a kitchen.
Yeah.
It's interesting to think. Okay, well, what if we remove the need for a kitchen? You said that. I think you told me once that the founder of Uber is
trying to create something around that. I forgot what the name of it. I should have researched the company, but I think he's trying to do like basically these dark kitchen sort of setups.
Yeah.
And I guess the whole concept is to really, I believe, is to disrupt the concept of the kitchen. Whoever watches this, and if I got it wrong, please let me know in the comments as well. But I believe it's just to disrupt this concept of like kitchens and having a dark kitchen separately, and anybody can access them, order, and it can be delivered to you.
I think that's amazing. I mean, the thing with the microwave, and the same with a lot of household appliances, is that we don't use them that often. And the amount of energy that goes into producing them in the first place, for them to sit on the side, in your case, if you're not even being able to remove or use this, like remove an appliance you don't even need, then it's just sat there for years, not hardly being used. And the same with same with things like a dishwasher or even a washing machine. I mean, we might do a clothes washing like once a week, twice a week, but all in the meantime, it's just sat there. In the US, obviously, the flats have like a communal washing machines in the basement, and you just go down and use them. And it's a much more like, it's from a sustainability perspective, it's a better approach.
Yeah.
Obviously, having like a dark kitchen running 24/7, providing food to a community,
Yeah.
is a really interesting. It's a much better use of resources. It's a much better use of food. Probably, there's maybe less waste. All these single person households don't make sense.
Yeah.
For us to then have microwave in every single person household in the whole of London.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. There's a lot of, and it even makes me think about, like, if we talk about the microwave, even in as its entity, right? How many of us actually utilize is the microwave?
Do you know how it works?
Its full potential. Do I know how it works? No, I just know that I put it in. I know that microwave energy, technology, whatever, enters the food, heats it up. Traditionally, I was used to microwaves where you put it inside and then your food spins around.
Yeah.
And then the microwave I have at home
doesn't spin.
No, it doesn't spin. You just go open, boom. At first, I was like, is this thing broken or not? But I understand, like, what. Yeah, I don't understand how, that type of stuff. But in terms of utilization, right? Because I think obviously it's coming from that sort of thinking of things from an interface perspective and the interaction perspective. It's like, how many of us actually utilize, like, as a person who you make products all day long, is there a desire that you have or thought process where you want the person who uses whatever you create to use every single function, or to just use a function when they need it? What's like, because when I think of a microwave, it's like, I watch it all the time when people come to my house, or we go to people's houses and it's like, okay, where's the microwave? Okay, and then you have this thing where you look at it and you assess it for a period of time. How do we use it? And everybody's trying to find a quick start button. And then we just quick start. We sometimes might not even think about the voltage, 800 watts or 900 watts. You're just like, bro, give me the quick start thing. Boom, boom, boom. And you get for 3 minutes. There you go. And that's a lot of the times our interactions are like that. And we don't utilize those full extent of what the microwave can do.
But the answer to the technology answer to that would be that it scans the food, knows instantly what it is.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. You just pick hot, piping hot, or warm, or whatever, and it does its thing.
That's even better. We don't have the interface doesn't even work that way. That way would make
just
so much
close
sense.
the door. I mean, you don't even have to press anything.
Yeah,
it's just
true.
Maybe you could even like have a delay start, like a
like a little 3 second, like a little. You put it in and it asks you, "What do you want? What meal is it? I don't know, chicken. I want it really hot." Okay, and it suggests for you what to do. I feel like that's the future interface of a microwave.
Yeah, you just talk to it. You just say, "Alexa, heat my food," and it will do it for you. But the question is like, is that the right way to go? I mean, that would just be us following this path of trying to create more and more convenience in people's lives.
Yeah.
Are we moving away from the joy of food and the joy of cooking by doing that? Is that the best path for us as society, to just streamline everything, take decision making out of everything? How important is food and cooking to you in your life?
I love cooking. I think it's probably the one time where I guess I treat cooking almost like a design project, in the way where it's like, okay, I've got a recipe, I've got an idea, I've got ingredients, okay, I'm going to put this together and stuff. And I guess for me, because of the cooking for me means I have a bit more control in terms of what I want to taste and what I want to have. So I have a extra spicy then obviously once you've cooked, now it's like, bruh, I don't know when I'm going to have time again to cook. So the microwave comes in to warm up what I've just cooked. And sometimes the food tastes better 2 days in after cooking. You know, the ones you put in the microwave and it comes out and it tastes great. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. I think it has its purpose. I think we maybe overgive it too much features. and maybe the concept of a communal kitchen. There's pros and cons to that. Some people might have university dorm nightmares of a communal kitchen.
Opening the microwave and it just like it looks like someone's vomited in it.
And
or
like
someone's just heated up some fish dish.
And it's really strong. And yeah, and I think it's just that whole thing of like, you know, where is it going? Where does it represent now? I think it is a product of convenience, but we can't deny it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's a tool that can help us even be more convenient. I don't know if it's a bad thing. In the case of that, I don't, but yeah.
It would be nice that if you could make something smaller, but whatever size, just because of the size it takes up in a small kitchen, but whatever size you think about it, like, oh, maybe you just make it the size of a plate.
Yeah.
You know, like just shrink it in height, but then you want to go and put a jug in there and you'd be like, God damn. So, I mean, I guess it's one of those things, isn't it, that it would be nice to just get rid of it. And undoubtedly, the people who are listening to this who don't have a microwave will just be thinking, what on earth are you talking about? Who've lived decades of their life without needing a microwave and actually just get a saucepan out and just deal with it.
Yeah, you're right. Put it in the oven, sort it out.
But then I think the same thing about a dishwasher. I don't have a dishwasher, and I actually really enjoy the process of washing up.
I have a dishwasher. I use it. I learned how to use it. And even that, most people have it in their homes, and it's like, how do we use it? And I didn't understand it until I actually went to Akil's house. I was staying there for a bit, and his mum taught me how to use a dishwasher. Where you got to put dishwasher salt in, you have to put rinse it, you got to put this. And then I'm like, oh. And then now, the dishwasher is literally my best friend. But it's definitely, I feel like there's pros to it. It's definitely convenient, but it just made me, I think, lazy.
Yeah, I think that's it.
In that area as well, sometimes.
Anyway, I think what we need is to hear everyone else's thoughts. So wherever this goes out, link will comment below, send us a message, reach out to us, give us your thoughts, tell us if you thought that this was any good. Let us know what we could talk about next week. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. It's been Rethinking the Mundane with Jo and Lex.
Thank you.